Former federal prosecutor. And Joe, I know that you've been looking at that 110-page brief by the president's lawyers. What do you make of it?
So, Laura, it is heavy on attacking the process of impeachment and now the trial. It's light on attacking the case itself. And here's what I mean by that. The president's lawyers have set up this argument to say, look, before we even get into whether what the president did with respect to Ukraine was proper, this case is constitutionally defective. And he makes basically 2 points. One, he says, on the abuse of power charge, basically the one that deals with the Ukraine, they say because no crime was alleged by the Democrats in the House, the case cannot proceed. Now, that's not exactly correct, and it requires a bit of a deep dive to get to the bottom of it. But it's an opening salvo from the president's lawyers, and it gives Republicans something to latch onto if they are inclined to dismiss the charge or vote against, basically against convicting the president and removing him. On the second point, the obstruction of Congress, basically what the president's defenders are saying is, look, you should have gone to court. And you, the Democrats, because you didn't and you rushed this through, it is also a defective charge because the executive branch and the president has the right to push back against a congressional subpoena. And just because he does not mean he's done something wrong and certainly not impeachable and removable. Now, we can pick apart both of these arguments, but they are certainly that's the opening salvo we're seeing from the president's defense team.
Indeed, so, Joe, and the actual Senate trial gets underway in earnest tomorrow. What are you expecting?
So I think, first off, the question is, what are the rules going to be that govern the trial? We still don't really know that. Leader Mitch McConnell has been keeping those pretty closely held. Most likely, they will resemble the same rules of the Senate trial that governed back in 1998, when President Bill Clinton faced a Senate trial for his impeachment. But we don't know that for sure. And of course, the big question emanating from there is, will live witnesses be permitted? Most likely, the rules that are released will kick that down a few days, allow for trial briefs to be fully filed, opening statements to be given, basically the case laid out by the prosecution, and then the decision about witnesses will be made, most likely several days from now.
And Joe, in 20 seconds, what do you make of the president's show pony made-for-TV lawyers?
Well, it's an interesting combination, Laura, right? You have Pat Cipollone and Jay Sekulow, right, the lawyers that are going to really roll up their sleeves, write these trial briefs, and really argue the guts of the case in the Senate. But then you also have your media lawyers, your Pam Bondi, your Alan Dershowitz, your Ken Starr, lawyers that feel very comfortable on television and before a microphone pleading the president's case. And this is a president that really does value talent that can handle themselves in the media. So it's definitely a two-pronged approach here. You have your workhorse lawyers and you have your showhorse lawyers. It will be interesting to see how they work together in defending the president's position.
Joe Moreno, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Laura. Great to be with you.
Now, it's going to be a juggling act for the senators who are both jurors